Hi everyone. I am back on here. I practiced going live and I decided to separate my videos. I talked about my survivor healing halos in the last video, and then in this one I'm going to talk about surrendering and just asking for a sign, because I've been trying to connect with my soul, the divine creator, and the invisible field. And I think I've been just trying too hard, and I really had a hard day on Wednesday. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some blessings that I received recently. And I'm going to flip the phone around. This is my yoga mat, and instead of me being on it doing yoga, I have a bunch of food on here. And I have some food for our two boys, and then I have some food that I eat, and then some food that my husband eats. And I feel very blessed to have this. And so I thought that it would be great to come on here. I've been having a hard time with my phone, with memory, and so I thought this is good for me to come on live as well. Not only does it help to not take up storage on my phone, but it's good for me to come out and to speak. I don't get to talk to a lot of people, and so sometimes when I'm trying to actually, instead of meditating and thinking about things, putting it to words, sometimes it's hard because I just, a lot of times I'm just kind of with myself, and there's not a lot of people around right now this time of year in the area that I'm in, and it's also hard to get out in nature. So I think that like yesterday I went and I watched a few of my videos, and it really helped to remind me, after having a really tough day on Wednesday, that I am doing pretty darn good and I have so much to be grateful for. And though in the story I'm going to tell you, there were some times when I was purging a lot, and a lot of my limited thoughts and emotions were surfacing, and I wasn't able to, even though I was trying to focus on the heart, I was not able to get to a place where I felt like I could stop those thoughts. Like when I talked about in my other videos saying change to stop them, they just continued and continued, and I didn't know exactly what to do. And so I just ended up just crying out. I ended up yelling. I ended up feeling like, just asking, what is it that I need to do as a CPS survivor? How do I do this? How do I help other people? I don't even have food. I don't have enough money. I don't have really a warm, decent place to live. Where we have our RV doesn't have water or sewage hooked up right now on the property. And so I started looking at some of that stuff going, okay, I'm trying to go out and do some things in my life. I'm also definitely going within and working on meditating and working on my subconscious and focusing on the heart. So I was like, what am I missing? I see all these people that seem to be connecting with this invisible field and having these experiences that I want to have. I want to have that complete connected experience where it's like divine love and abundance, and just that the love that you can't even put words to. And I'm not saying that I haven't felt gratitude and love, but I haven't had that same experience. And so I've been like, okay, I watch some people, and you don't have to be vegetarian or vegan, or you don't have to meditate every second of every day or anything like that. There's people of all walks of life who are connecting with this invisible field that's out there and this energy. And so I was like, okay, why not me? And I just asked, what do I do? Please show me a sign that I'm connecting. Help me in some way, because I'm feeling like really down. And I said the F word more than I would like to admit yesterday, because I just was like, what am I supposed to do? And I don't normally cuss, but everything was coming up: frustration, anger, sadness, my humanness, my ego was screaming at the top of its lungs, because I have been saying, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm changing. And so I had to sit with this, and I had to feel it, experience it, and then allow myself to let it out without feeling guilty or judgmental with myself. Like, we've been taught throughout time that no, you can't do that kind of stuff. Um, you can't really be real. You got to hide it. Well, in this awakening, this purging, you got to be real. And what the message I got was to surrender, to fully surrender. And I think that me getting to that point is saying, no, this is okay. And allowing myself to get there. And then the next day, making the choice as those things started to arise again. I was at a place where I could, I could have the other day, but it seemed like I couldn't. It just was coming and it out of me. And then the next day, some of that stuff, frustration, when I was working on my Survivor Healing Halo labels and stuff like that, I couldn't get the programs to work. My phone wasn't uploading videos and all that stuff. And I felt like crying. And I was like, no, I'm choosing a different way. And it worked. I was able to ease the ego and say, you need to go and take this seat over here. I love you. Thank you, but no thank you. And I was able to make better choices, and that was nice. So I know there's going to be some times where it's really hard, but I think the more that we continue to work on things, that we are going to be able to rise above this and continue in our consciousness to transcend and evolve, and no longer be stuck in our old behaviors, changing the habit of being ourselves, which is the self that is not connected with our souls, our divine soul source. Okay. So I wanted to just share with you guys on live, because of my camera problems, and my arm's a little bit tired, so I apologize if it's moving around. But this food that I got came after that really hard time on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, I decided, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to go get some orange juice. I have just enough to get some orange juice. And then I am going to go to Walmart and try to get my cards just printed off. So I had some card stock, that I thought I could get it printed on. And so went to Safeway first, and I was kind of being silly, and I was like, okay, you are a creator and a co-creator, so manifest orange juice. Yeah, I came before, and there was 2 for $6 of these like 89-ounce orange juices. Come on, you can do it. Don't tell me you can't do it now. Come on. And then I was like, no, seriously, I am so grateful for what I have. And I got some Florida natural 100% orange juice, so-called, for $1.99. And I was like, thank you so much. And then I went to Walmart after that. And I don't normally go to Walmart very often, but I like going to the local, stores and markets, and I don't usually shop very much at all, but I needed some cheap index cards, and I really just wanted to get these copied off. But their photo center does not have the 3x5 size, to where those Survivor Healing Halos, I'll bring one over, that I just made a video about right here. They're 3x5s, and I wasn't able to get it to copy it. The smallest size was like 2x3, like a wallet size, and then they had 4x4, and then they had the 4x6s, which is way too big. And so I ended up going over to the stationery part of the store, excuse me, and I looked at the card, and that's when I realized, oh, this 4x6 is definitely not going to work. And so I went and canceled my order. they were already closed, so they were going to do it the next day. So it worked out good. And then I went back to the stationery section of the store, and I was going to get the stapler and then the index cards. And I was just going to print. I was hoping that I had enough ink in my printer to print these up. And I was going to glue them to the back of, I have the index cards on the back to make it more thick so that people could put these in their carts. And yeah, it worked out really good. But I wasn't sure how I was going to make it work at first. And when I was in that aisle, there was a man there, and it was really windy. It's been windy the last couple days here. And he was like, are you from around here? Is it like usually this windy and stuff? And so talking about weather and stuff. And then anyways, we just started talking about what we were looking for and stuff. And I was able to talk to him about the modern day form of human trafficking by the child so-called protective services and also the adult so-called protective services. And I like to take these moments to that's what these are about, is that it's not just being a survivor of CPS or APS. It's any type of trauma that we are impacted with, trauma that brings us down to a survival mode. But I am able to use my experience that I've gone through these trenches. I'm still in these trenches, meaning that I don't have my offspring back yet, but there's been a lot of growth and healing happening, and I'm so grateful for that. But I can understand because I've been there, and I'm using this experience in such a way to raise awareness as to what's going on. Now, I don't condone true abuse and neglect, and I definitely don't condone it in any fashion, meaning by these for-profit private business associations and corporations and the unconscious people who are working for them. I'm coming at this, though, from an open heart space that I want to reach out, and I want to share with people information about this so that they are able to make better decisions in their life, of understanding what's actually going on. And where there's true cases of abuse or neglect, we do have common law courts that are in place. There's just a system in place right now, the one that's been making money off of people's pain and suffering, that still has a lot of power. And until that's starting to fall. And when more and more people in a loving way stand up and expose this, it will change, and it will continue to, and it will fall. And so my part in this, because I've experienced this, and I do not like human trafficking in any form. I like to take the time to tell people about my experience and those of other families who are being trafficked by these corporations, and the thousands upon thousands of little ones, children, our biological property. There's all different ways to say it, but not only that, our elderly, and then moms and dads who are just feel helpless and hopeless and alone, and being ran through the ringer and just not knowing what to do. And so if I can help to raise the vibrations by reaching out to these families, and then coming at it from a different approach, once you meet people where they are. And so it's just little steps in that direction, and I try to provide resources of different advocates that are out there, because there's a lot to learn. But like in my other video that I was talking about this last week, I was talking about everything being energy, and how I want to be energy changing matter. I don't want to be matter changing matter anymore. And in this walk, in this journey that we're all on, sometimes it feels like, boy, am I headed in the right direction, or what do I need to be doing? Help me. And so in Walmart, I received the sign that I was asking for. Am I on the right path? How do I do this? Show me that you're there, that I am, that I am not alone, and I know I'm not, but just having that connectivity. And I got all of this food, which is such a blessing. And it really got me. Let me see. Sorry about that. I'm trying to turn this around. My arm is getting really tired holding this. But it brought me to a place where I felt my heart opening more and more, and like that I did surrender the other day, and I was real, and I was able to just let things out. And then when I asked for that sign, and this surprised me because I wasn't expecting to get all this food. I didn't take in any bags with me. Usually, like, I have these different bags that I take in if I'm getting food. The phone keeps like turning around. Sorry about that, guys. But like, I have those kind of bags that I take in, and I didn't have anything with me because all I was getting was index cards and possibly some glue, and then the stapler or tape. And or what I wanted to do was just go get some of the cards printed off so I didn't have to do any of the gluing, but that didn't work out. So I had plan A, B, and C there for me. But yeah, the lady at Walmart gave us the paper bags free. I didn't have any of my bags because I was like, I wasn't even expecting this. And so I talked with this guy afterwards, and just talked to him about what was going on with my children, and talked about the just what I'm doing in my life. And he was at a place where I used to be, and so we talked about that. I talked to him about a saying that I like, and I said I don't want to offend anyone, but it really hit me because of where I've come in my conscious awakening. And it was, or is, that religion is for those who are afraid of going to hell, and spirituality is for those who have already been there. And I said, I believe that as a CPS survivor, I have been in hell, and that I've created this hell and co-created it, and that I am learning that I am a powerful being just like everyone else is, and going back to my roots and being reconnected with the divine. And I let him know, because he was asking questions about he felt like I was lost and that I needed to be saved, and that I had once pronounced Jesus Christ to be my savior, and believed that he was coming back to save us. And now, yes, I believe that there's many people who have come before, and there's many stories about it, and people have shown us the way, but the information that we've been given is tainted. And so there's so much more having to do with our consciousness and who we are as these divine beings of love and light, and how we are waves of source. And I think that I didn't feel like I needed to convince him of anything like I once did. Like when I did my internship at OSP during my master's program, I felt like I had it all figured out, and like I knew no matter what anyone said, I was going to be what he called himself. John said he was a Jesus freak, and I said I used to say that all the time. And I was like, I knew that I had the truth and the light and the way, and I was going to, no matter what, I was going to preach the good news despite what people's beliefs were. And anyways, trying to say this in a way that, I'm not saying that I'm in a better place or I'm anything like that, but I've been there before, is what I was telling him. So as he was speaking to me and saying stuff like, you just, man, what happened to you? And I know you're going to turn back around, and you once, were a believer. And so, oh man, he just felt so bad for me. And I was like, no, I am at a place where my faith has grown. And I said the other day when I was having a hard time, it was a time when it needed to come out. All this stuff that's been binding me and that's been deep within me, it needed to come up. I can't just ignore it. Yes, I can say change and I can change my thoughts and my emotions, but there's times when this stuff is surfacing and it needs to be experienced and then let go of. I don't have to stay there. That's what this all comes down to, is making a choice of how long you're going to be in that state that is no longer serving you. And so we talked about all this stuff, and he felt like he was brought and purposed into my life to bring me back to Jesus. And I told him that I feel like all interactions are divine and they are purposed, and it goes both ways. And there's reasons for these interactions that go way beyond what our finite minds can see, or like being able to shut off the old belief systems that aren't serving us or others, and being able to make space for the new to come in. And it doesn't mean that we are lost souls or anything like that. But yeah, we talked about all of that stuff, and he ended up giving me a couple of wooden crosses. And at one time when I was on this journey, I didn't feel like I could talk to anyone about this stuff, and I felt like I had it all figured out as well. I felt like, I don't know if that pop-up came up on the screen, but I'm sorry if it did. I felt like I had it all figured out in the other way, and that was when I was in a time of just judgment, and I felt like, man, if I wasn't walking in such a way and following all the commandments and all this other stuff, that I was going to be condemned for life. And when I looked at what was going on with the CPS stuff in my family and all the stuff that's happened in my life, the tearing away and all of that, I really felt like I must be a terrible person and must be wicked, and I am being judged and condemned. And then as I was trying to do the things that I was learning that I was supposed to be doing, I felt like, okay, well, I'm doing all this stuff, so everyone else who's not doing it is, yeah, they're on that path now to destruction. And it was a really hard place to be, because I still felt like I wasn't enough, and like was I was lost. And it wasn't until this about a year ago, when I saw basically the 11:11 and woke up, that I started to come out and question very deeply my old belief systems. And it has taken quite a while to get to where I am today. And so as I spoke with John, the whole point of this is that I was able to have a conversation, not get defensive, not feel like I needed to convince anyone. And when he was talking to me about his stuff and his beliefs, I was able to listen to what he was saying, but then agree to disagree and have a discussion. And I said that I hope that our interaction, that we were both planting seeds, and that those would be watered later in ways that go way beyond maybe what we could see at that time. And so I told him, he asked me to pray for him today when he was going into court, and he asked me only to pray in Jesus's name for him. And so I did that, and hopefully he had a good day. And just wanted to say, John, if you watch this, thank you so much. You said you wanted to be a conduit and a vessel for Jesus, and you definitely were an answer to prayers, and you were used. And it was in a different way than maybe what you're thinking, but it was, again, kind of in that way, because we are both, well, there's only one divine creator. We are all one, and we are a wave of that. And so I just wanted to say thank you again. And I hope that I was able to help you, and that the seeds that I planted will one day be watered in that time. And it was great to be able to have that time to talk with someone, and it taught me a lot about where I have been and where I have how far I've come, and seeing that I have not been alone in any of this, that yeah, I may not fit in, and that's okay. I'm getting to that point where I used to say it doesn't matter what other people think, but I truly am at that place where it's becoming more and more a reality for me. And the reality I want to live in is heaven on earth. And I don't want hell anymore. And I want peace and joy and love for all of us. And so that's what I'm going to be working towards. And the last thing I want to say is that before I went to the store, I think something that helped me is that I watched a video by Anna Brown, and I'm going to leave a link in the description box, but I did a heart meditation with her, and it was awesome. She was focusing on the heart, and focusing and looking, just meditating on the sun, and being able to be connected with the sun and getting that energy, because yeah, that's where we get our energy from. Well, from all around us. It's in everything. It is everything. But I took the time. I could have just left, but I said no. I need to center myself, and I sat down, and I myself, the soul, was in the driver's seat. The ego wanted me to go and do, whatever, and it doesn't really matter. But I quieted that, and I sat down, and I really believe that when I went to the store and I made those decisions, to change my old patterns that don't serve me or anyone else, that I did receive the sign that I had been asking for. And it was because I was willing. My free will was to connect and to show that, yeah, I will surrender, and I will prioritize my life, and I will be real as well. There's going to be times I know that are difficult, and I'm able to have a conversation, because this invisible intelligence that's out there is all loving, all caring, not judgmental, not condemning, not anything about fear and guilt or anything like that. And so that's what I kind of want to end with, is that as this experience came to me, just like Dr. Joe Dispenza talked about, it has motivated me and encouraged me to do more of what I've been doing, and to know that this is a journey, and this is a path that I'm on, and it's going to take some time. All of this wiring in my brain and the firing of these neurons have been going on for a long, long time. And so it's not just overnight going to, just be undone. Yeah, I could have some major upgrades and uploads and connect, but there's going to be the ego there from time to time that comes up, because we are still living in these bodies, in these vessels, in these avatars. And so I know that it's going to be okay. And we are all in this life together and unifying as one. That's what that peace meditation was about, is coming together, knowing that we aren't alone and we aren't divided, except for when we feel like when we're in survival mode. So when there's fear and anger and hatred, and we're just not in a place of gratitude and love, then we feel like it's them against us and us against them. And I'm not going to get too much into the light and the dark, but we can choose how we're going to walk. And I choose the light, and the light and the dark, like I said, is in each one of us. So let us choose what we are going to emanate from our bodies, and what kind of vibration we are, what kind of energy, because that is what we will attract back. So I attracted a whole bunch of food. I was able to manifest this quantum shift out of these low vibrations, and I didn't have to get stuck there. I decided, nope, the refractory period was going to be short, and I was not going to stay in guilt or condemning myself or anything like that. I saw that this stuff needed to come out, and then I stepped up and I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do now. So each one of us can do this, and I wanted to come on here because I think it's important to share the blessings, but also to share those times when we're really having a hard time. And let me tell you, as a CPS survivor, and I don't want to minimize anyone else's traumas, challenges that they're going through. So I'm just speaking from where I'm at. As a CPS survivor, it can be so difficult at times because it's like our children, our families are a big piece of us, and there's so much that feels lost when we're not together. And it seems sometimes like this world wants us to feel like there's no hope and no possibility. And I believe all things are possible. And knowing that I'm a creator and a co-creator with all of you, and as we raise the vibrations and we open our hearts, I know that things are getting better and they will continue to get better. And so yeah, more food is coming, more abundance is coming, and yeah, our restoration of our birthrights are coming, and reunification, and then just having these systems that are no longer serving us fall, and we will be shining our lights and continuing to do so, because the darkness can't hide from the light, and we will lovingly embrace that, and that light will help to not destroy the darkness, but have that light shine on the darkness so that the darkness can become light as well. And so I hope that those people who are involved in the human trafficking of our families, that they will be able to see and choose what kind of vibration they are, and to no longer inflict pain and suffering on families where there's true cases of abuse and neglect. There are true courts of record with due process of law, with untainted juries of our peers, untainted judges. The attorneys are not going to be there ruling the show and running it, but it's all about truth and being heard, and yeah, making sure that people are protected, and that's what we want. So yeah, this isn't about true cases of abuse and neglect. That's not what the system is based off of. Okay, they're making their money off of our families by making our children, our elderly, and moms and dads go through services, and we are the commodities being traded. But as we wake up, we can decide, no, that's not what I want. And getting to the place where your energy changing matter is a whole new ball field out there. And that's what I am going to be sharing more and more about. So I won't ramble on any longer. I just wanted to share this with you because I've been nourished in more ways than one. So I hope that you have a blessed night, and namaste.